Well, I have here with me Emmanuel Chemanting Ejako. He is a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wagong and also a member of the MPP. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And the mother of the man arrested in jail for 10 years just on Tuesday for illegal possession of arms says her son is mentally unstable. Ifye Japoma told the news team that her son had suffered this instability for over 10 years. But we know that his son had been jailed because even though initially in court he pleaded guilty to the charge, well, while you were being told, well, you have to go on remand, he started spilling a lot of things. Ultimately, we're told perhaps he was not sane as it is. Following that very ruling, a lot of criticism has been leveled not only at the judge but also at the ruling itself and what it means in the whole as that is concerned. Mr. Chemanting Ejako, what do you make of the incident that happened? The gentleman had gone to the church consecutively 3 times, had not met the president there, but the last point was caught with a gun.
Well, thank you for having me once again. Let me say good morning to viewers. I think that this is a very bizarre situation that has occurred. The difficulty I have is that I think my considered view is that it has been rushed. Indeed, my understanding is that the BNI took the gentleman to court not so much to have him convicted, but to come within the law so that further investigations could continue. I think it is unfortunate that this sentence has happened. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not that learned. I don't know whether there's recourse, but my considered view is that we should not gloss over this matter. I think it should be a matter that must be thoroughly investigated. Thoroughly investigated, because it borders on the safety and security of the very important persons in this country. Some of the pieces just don't fit for me, though.
So they don't add up?
No, some of the pieces in this jigsaw puzzle does not just fit. It is said that this man had gone to the church 3 times. In many of these churches, when you go there, the first day they will ask if there's a person who is coming here for the first time, he should rise up so we welcome him properly and all of this thing. Was he noticed? Did anybody speak to him? Did he get up or he didn't get up? And you know, my considered view is that if somebody really and truly wants to do this professionally, the way the man acted is so unprofessional. I mean, you would find out when His Excellency the President or your target will be there. You just don't go firing blanks. You understand? The point I am making is that, yes, maybe the man had an intention, but you can see from the onset that he was not a very serious person. He went there 3 times. He was fidgeting, and he had a locally manufactured pistol. Look, if this was a professionally executed job, they would find out and determine when the target will be there. I don't believe that hired assassins are people who will go and give themselves up. Number 2. And number 3, I believe that very important persons world over protect themselves. I cannot say for His Excellency the President here, but I believe that every president anywhere wears a body armor. And you don't go attempting to kill somebody with a locally man. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. But a serious-minded person would have a high-caliber pistol. I think that the real situation with this man is that he is just deranged. I was listening to her mother on one of the local stations when I was coming here. The man traveled and went to Libya. He probably walked from here to Libya and moved from Libya. He says was in Italy. Couldn't know. I think he says yes. So when they said Italy, he says yes. That's where he went. I think that it was noticed that he was mentally ill, so he was repatriated.
Okay.
And since he came back in his grand delusions, he thinks that he was supposed to be president after Atta Mills, and that indeed I hear that he said that he was even going to overthrow Atta Mills so he becomes president. The man is delusional. The man is obviously delusional. I would want to admit that in history of political assassinations, sometimes it has been people who are deranged. Abraham Lincoln was killed by a completely deranged man. Okay. I think one of the Kennedy brothers, Robert, was killed by a Sharam who was also deranged.
Right.
Okay. Why I am saying that I think it is unfortunate we are jumping the gun is that we must carefully and properly interrogate this. Okay. Obviously, the man lives in the Yeswaba in the Afo area of the Bunafo region. He came to Accra. He said, whom was he living with? Who was he meeting with?
But it's true that a mentally deranged person could have still shot the president if he was there. But let's just listen to the mother, and then we'll be joined by Abraham Amaliba as well, who is a member of the NDC's legal team, and we'll have a lot more discussions on the subject.
What kind of area is there important now, Che?
I don't know how I say. Now I was only 1 month. I was only 1 into a senior panosu. Now they come out. Oh,
yeah, me too.
Yes, I'm the comparable. Now they far. Then you say, a walk on a comma. Now I near judge. One can be. And so, I thought I was to talk around and cover was an uncle. Then I did. Oh, when you say, now I also could to Mamma, what to be paid. And you were cast on one, no crown, none of you in the near break. 1 year passing another uncle. You see, a crown went for where I did not.
Near way, no, a dibber, saying.
Until you.
Okay, so the mother of the gentleman, I believe his name is Charles Entry, and all that she says that, well, they had recorded or noticed that he had difficulties with the son. They tried to even take him to a house of God to make sure that at least they could invoke some spirits and try to exorcise him of the demons that really were plaguing him. She was surprised that her son was giving that very sentence, but she felt that something needed to be done about it. Abraham, what do you make about the incident? What do you make of the incident? My position was, whether deranged or not, you could have still shot a president. Yes.
Yeah. Good morning to you and your viewers and to my constituents in Bolgatanga. I'm told that I shouldn't say constituents, but the good people of Bolgatanga, it doesn't matter.
He doesn't have the right as well.
Yes. So the good people of Bolgatanga, that doesn't take away the fact that I'm their son. A number of things have happened, and I want to go legal on this matter.
Oh, really?
Yes, I want to go legal. First and foremost, when the charges were read to the accused person, did he understand the charges? 2, did he plead guilty? If he pleaded guilty, then the judge was right to proceed to convict him and then sentence him. But if he did not plead guilty, it was wrong for the judge to proceed to convict him and sentence him. I am told that the prosecution came there hoping to have an adjournment so they could continue further investigations. That too, I must say that the judge is the master of his court. The judge determines how he wants to manage his cases. The judge can refuse to accept the plea of the prosecution, and it is within his right to do so. I've also heard people say that the accused person sounded incoherent, and for that matter, the judge should have referred him to the psychiatric hospital. Now, this is what the law says on that. The law says that if it appears to the judge, that the accused person is insane, then he has to refer him to the psychiatric hospital. This judge can put up a defense and say that it did not appear to me. When I had interactions with him, I assumed that he perfectly understood what was going on. So that is not an issue. The next one is, I've heard people say that he should have been represented by a lawyer or something to that effect. The Constitution says that anybody accused of a criminal offense may defend himself or may choose a lawyer of his own or hire a lawyer of his own to defend him. What I think the judge did not do right was not to afford the accused person an opportunity to go and look for a lawyer if he so wishes. That is to say that I am of the view that he should have adjourned the case and asked the accused person to look for a lawyer, so that in the next adjourned date, if he came without a lawyer, then he can proceed. He cannot hold a call to ransom because he wants to go all over the world and look for a lawyer. That is where I think, but it is perfectly right for anybody to defend himself.
Okay. I know that there's the law for which, or within the remit within which they were acting, or
NRCD.
or pressing the charge,
Yes.
didn't give the mandate to the judge or the right to the judge to give that very maximum sentence that he did.
Yes, that's the point I want to come to. Now, I closely took a look at the law, NRCD 9, at section 26. It says that anybody convicted of this offense, that's the offense of possessing firearms without lawful authority, shall not be sentenced beyond 5 years, not exceeding 5 years. Here we are, it's 10 years. That I think that is appealable. That I think that on appeal, it can be reversed. So there are a number of things that I think went right, some also went wrong. But on the whole, if they are dissatisfied, they can go on appeal. What the mother is saying was not before the judge. And the judge cannot, whilst trying a case, call people's uncles, calls people's mothers, call people's nephews to find out the state of mind of people before he proceeds. You get the point? What the mother is saying now.
So you're saying that
what the mother is saying,
as the judge sitting,
yes,
on that very case, that very moment,
yes,
does not have that privilege.
Does not have that information.
To do that.
This information that the woman is telling us. This information would have been critical if the mother were in court. He rose up, he would have told the judge that my son is mentally derailed. There are records to show. This would have compelled the judge to then refer the accused person to the psychiatric. But the judge is not privy to this information. So that is the way you should also look at it.
Okay.
But how about the prosecutors? How about the investigators?
Because they had interacted with him from the time they arrested him till now.
Yes, and that was not also in the facts of the case. The judge is limited to the facts of the case. The prosecution did not...
Because you have a certain remit. There's only a certain parameter within which you can...
The judge, the prosecution did not include that in the facts of the case.
So let me ask you, what the prosecution went to the court to secure was remand.
Remand, yes.
Based on what?
They say they want to do further investigations.
Yeah. So are you also telling? I don't know. I'm illiterate.
No, I get his point.
Are you also saying that? Then why did the judge go out beyond that remit? What was before that?
No.
What was before him?
No. The judge is the one who controls his court. Like he is in control of these discussions.
Yeah.
So you can't go to the judge. You can go to the judge and say, "My lord, I am here to ask for an adjournment. My lawyer is sick. My lawyer is in the hospital. So I want an adjournment."
Our reporter,
then the judge will say that, "No, I cannot wait for your lawyer."
Our reporter, Kwachi Afreniam,
yes,
was in the court. He says, this is what, he pleaded not guilty.
Okay.
But when I believe he was about being told that, okay, this one, it's an adjourned case.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Then he started talking.
Okay.
Saying that, yes, he intended to kill the president. He has to be, you know.
Good.
Okay. And then he made a lot of confessions. But how does that relate to the charges in many respects?
Yes. So, in my view, the judge couldn't have convicted him based on his confessions. The judge could have convicted him if he had pleaded guilty, but he pleaded not guilty and went ahead and was now saying those things. Those things are immaterial now.
Do you think the judge was overtaken by the emotions of the time? Because, you know, he's going to the president's chair, and then the gentleman now just ranting and saying, yes, I had intended to kill the president. And we have an insert that we can play in which he was interacting with the police and he was saying all sorts of things. A number of things, so to speak. I believe that you may also have monitored in the other media platforms as well.
I think that I cannot determine what might have pushed the judge to do what he did, but I think that sometimes, as human as we are, can also get it wrong.
Okay. All right. Let's get an insight from the gentleman. He was interacting with, I believe, the police after he was jailed. I believe he was being taken away to the prisons or somewhere of the sort.
What you did to cause the death of Atamels can cause the death of Mahama.
No, that is not possible. That can only happen if Mahama is dead.
When you return from prison, you can become president. Mandela became president after 7 terms in jail. You can equally become president after 7-year sentence.
Clearly incoherent, I believe. I'm not a professional, though. But at the end of the day, it's the security of the person who occupies the presidency. It could be anybody, not John Dramani Mahama.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's that
was
a
my
breach.
challenge.
I mean, we should say that was a breach.
Well,
it means that it's a procedure they don't institute at the place. Because if it was a procedure, everybody who came, whether the president was coming that day or not, should have been screened.
Well, I want to believe. You see, for me, this, I was telling you that the puzzle does not fit too well. I am certain that if the president was not going there, the security would have known way ahead that the president will not attend church that day. Okay, if the president is not there, and it is ordinary people like myself and who cares? You understand? But if the president is there, I am sure that the security will be there 2 or 3 hours.
Well, the chief justice also attends.
Yeah. If the status and the president's status, the security levels of security needed to be provided are the same, certainly they will do it. The point I'm making is, yes, the threats exist out there. That is why there is security. Okay. For me, really, if the president was not going to church and had not attended church for 3 weeks, what was the big deal? I mean, if the president is not there, it is. I heard the pastor of the church say, "I'm sorry, I am a pastor. I pastor a church. It just happens that the president comes here. Okay, if he is here, it is up to the security to do the necessary things. If he is not here, I go on and do my quote unquote do my church. You understand? But the reason why I feel worried is that there are a lot of deranged people out there. There are a lot of people who have cause to settle with very important persons, and I'm not just speaking of the of His Excellency the President. Of course, he's the first one, but I think that the lessons to be learned from this is that we may have to review, rethink the policy of protecting important persons. Okay, the world is
why important persons includes the president and who?
Oh, absolutely. There's indeed. I think that in the security apparatus they have a what they call very important persons protection unit, VIPPU. Okay, you want to extend it to Parliament. I mean, I sometimes get frightened because the people who can walk into where all of us are, if somebody decides to cause harm,
they can
because
cause of the laxity of the laxness.
Huge.
But you see, I was.
For example, in America, I know you want to contribute.
So for me, I think that this must just be a wake-up call to all of us as a nation that we need to rethink how we protect persons and places. I believe.
Abraham, we've heard in America, as you add what you want to add, people just enter churches, they enter into shopping areas, they just start spraying.
Yeah.
And as for them, they can even buy the machine guns, the Kashilnikovs and all those things in the shop, hardware stores they call them.
Yeah, and that is why I disagree with my colleague's earlier submissions before I joined the panel, when he said that the accused person looks like unprofessional. He didn't look like somebody who could do that.
So you're saying he didn't need to be professional?
And that it was a local manufactured gun. I don't know whether there are some guns that can kill the president and others that cannot kill, to the extent that a local manufactured gun should be an exception. And I don't know whether you must be sane before you can. And he has rightly indicated at the tail end of his submission that most of these assassins are either mentally derailed. Take the person who shot the Pope. I'm sure he has some mental problems. And he alluded to Abraham Lincoln. So I do not think that, Kennedy. Yes, I do not think that you need to be professional. In fact, it is when you are not professional that these things come into your mind. So I think that let's stop that argument.
I said that because if you look on social media, a lot of attributions are being made. Oh, he's a hide assassin. Okay. Nobody will hide this as a. Nobody will hide him.
And the president has been trying, Mr. Chairman Tejako, because this is good. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection will soon set up a Ghana National Household Registry. We know that the ministry has been at the forefront, of course, since the Kufuor administration. It was with the Ministry of Employment and Labour. Harmonizing registration of all social protection programs. And the data registry can then be shared across social protection programs. We already know now we have LIP, and we also have the Labour Intensive Public Works and the National Health Insurance Scheme, among others, that are targeted at specific people in our society, so that they can, because categorized as vulnerable, can get some sort of relief.
Yeah, it is okay. I mean, I want to believe that this is a good administrative activity. But you see, for me as a person, I think that fundamental to this has been our inability to do the national identification. Okay. At the core of all of this, if we had been able to execute the national identification project very well, all of this would have fitted in and
there would have been a convergence.
You see, that would have been a very good platform to build all of these things.
How would you know somebody is poor? By looking at somebody's identity in a database. You still would have to go and do some household services.
But what I'm saying is that, you see, you need a certain platform. It is on that platform then you can decide after all, who determines who is poor. It is, they look at household incomes and all of this. But the base of all of this, I believe, would have been the national identification. It is a discussion we can have another time. I am happy that steps are being taken to synchronize all of this. The tendency of all of us as human beings is everybody wants cheap money, everybody wants easy money. Even in the most advanced democracies, you will find that this kind of fraud that goes on with the social services is there. In the UK, one of the biggest challenges, I think that I was reading recently, they probably over the last 5 years, they have lost £1.6 billion in social security fraud, okay, in an attempt to help the disadvantaged and the vulnerable. It does happen. The only way you can do it is to establish a proper system. And I think that this is a step in the right direction.
Lip, providing the social protection programs for the vulnerable in our society, I believe that if it's conducted well, is the best way to go. Getting to know that these are the key people within your population that need help is also an improvement. Well, we don't have a data system though, but it's important.
Yeah, this is good for developmental purposes. It will help all developmental agencies to tap into this database. But my worry is we have so many data scattered all over.
National Health Insurance.
National Health Insurance on its own. We have
Voters Electoral Register
on its own. Can we synchronize all these things and put them on one database so that if you need information on anybody, you can just click and then you can have the aspect that you want and take it away.
Tell the president.
I think that everybody wants to protect his turf because of procurement purposes. EC wants to be on its own so that it can be doing its own biometric. Now we have Controller and Accountant General also doing biometric registration of workers.
Finance Ministry doing
no.
National Health Insurance.
So I think that, yes, and this National Identification Authority is also there. Can we have a one-stop database where all these things can be fed into it? I think for me that's the way to go.
Okay.
I think we are about saying the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the two of you are on the same.
We have lost a golden opportunity.
At least for once you've agreed on something, that is.
Oh, we do agree sometimes. I think we have lost a golden opportunity, but we need to look into it. You know, when you ask the bankers, they'll tell you that the reason why interest rates continue to be high is because of
the risk.
The risk. And all of it comes with identity and all of this. For instance,
you don't know where
my name is my name. When I was born, I was Christine Echampon Chiramatin Jakom. When I was going to school, my mother added Emmanuel. My home name, quote unquote, is Kwabene Echampon. All right. So the same person. I can go to different banks. If I go to a bank and I say my name is Kwabene Echampon, really and truly, my name is Kwabene Echampon.
This time it won't happen. There's what is called the Credit Reference Bureau that tracks all these things. It's a system that will pop up to say that you owe ADB. You've not paid ADB, and you are at Zenith Bank.
Have you been working with the FIC often?
Why? Because I know this. The Credit Reference Bureau.
No, this is, look.
The Credit Reference Bureau.
You are talking, but if I go and I present a completely different identity, what you need to do is to have one identity, so that whether I go as Kwabene Echampon or Emmanuel Echampon or Kwabene Echampon or Chiramatin Echampon, the Credit Reference Bureau will, if I go as Emmanuel Echampon and I owe ADB and I go to Fidelity Bank, then it will pop up.
Okay.
But if I have different identities, I think that I am saying that I am extremely happy that we are doing this, but we need, like he said,
we need a synchronization.
There are too many sources of identification.
I guess we have to tell the president then, please, let's take the national identification issue as seriously as we can. We know also that corporations like the ECG, they've always been having difficulties if there are movements of people with registered meters that are even moved, sometimes without their knowledge, etc. All has got to do with billing and the problems that arise with collecting revenue.